Hey there, this is Patrick from Recipe Kit for Shopify. This video is going to be going over how you can test your rich recipe results now that you've implemented it, whether through the recipe kit on your Shopify store or through another WordPress plugin or implementing it yourself through code. There's a couple free tools out there that are super handy for testing and ensuring that your structured data is properly set up, and we'll go over a couple of the options today. So on the screen here, you can see my example recipe blog. This is a example Shopify store, and we'll click into my stir fry recipe. And here you can see this is a recipe card that's generated by my recipe kit app, which allows you to make these nice looking recipe cards on your Shopify store and sell your products from within them, so people can buy their chickpeas while they're browsing your recipe and whatnot. So of course, in the background, this does automatically generate the structured data that we're going to be testing for. So to actually test this and ensure that it is properly set up to show in those rich recipe results in Google, we can copy and paste the URL here and go to our first site, which is this rich results test from Google. So this is a free tool by Google, and it's super simple. You simply paste in the recipe URL, blog post URL, and click test. And in a few moments, we'll be getting a full report going over all of the different structured data that this tool can find. And here you can see it's popped up. So it shows that there's three different types of structured data that the tool found, and that is articles, recipes, and review snippets. So obviously in this case, we're looking at the recipes. So if we click in there, we can see that it shows detected items, the recipe name, broccoli stir fry. And then on the right, you can see this 8 non-critical issues. They're warnings. They're optional fields that Google wants you to fill out, but they're by no means requirements your recipe to show up in those results. If you ever see a red critical issue on this page, that means you're missing something crucial, and Google will dock you and or will simply not show your recipe results in the rich snippets part of the Google search results. So if you're missing something like the recipe image or the recipe title, those are going to be immediate red flags. But in this case, we can see we've got 8 non-critical issues. And sometimes people freak out seeing a high number there, but really in general, as long as you've got the core information down, which is images, titles, ingredients, and ideally some ratings, Google just requires that out of your recipe to be shown up. But all of these other fields, these non-critical fields, optional fields, Google wants you to add in as much information to give them as much context as you can. And in this case, we can see this recipe is missing cuisine field, a video, a category. And if we scroll through, again, this is all of that information that the structured data has. And here we can see we're also missing an image or video for each of the recipe instructions. So those are easy enough to add in if you're using a recipe plugin like Recipe Kit or a WordPress plugin similarly. And once you fill out all of that, obviously the goal would be to get no issues, and you'd be relatively confident that Google will start showing your recipe in these rich recipe search results. So that's the first of the tools that we can use here. The second is the Google Search Console tool. So this is a tool that you need to sign up for through your Google account, and you have to do some verification through your domain so that Google knows that you own the website that you're trying to do this test and scan on. But it's a really useful tool. If you haven't signed up for it yet, it lets you track clicks in search results and pages that are indexed and different errors and tools that are available to your site. So on the left-hand side here, we can scroll down and you'll see this enhancements tab. And now this will only show up if Google has already scanned or indexed your website and already knows that you have some recipes in place. If we click in here, you can see the 13 recipes that Google sees as valid recipes on example website here. So if you had some errors, they would show up here and you could click into them. But at the bottom, again, we can see some optional non-critical issues. And again, if there was some sort of critical issue, missing recipe title, Google would very loudly complain about it here, and you'd be informed and able to fix it. The other great thing about this tool is that Google will send out email reports to you. So I don't know if it's on a weekly basis or what the timeline is, but more or less, Google will send you reports saying, hey, your recipe is invalid. Fix these errors, or hey, we've just indexed 10 new recipes on your website. So if you're publishing recipes on a common basis or just blog posts on a common basis, I think this is a really incredible tool for you to use, and I'd highly suggest you to sign up for it. The third option is a tool I built myself, which is a free recipe schema testing tool on the Recipe Kit website. So once again, it's super simple. You just add in your recipe blog post, an email, and then click test. And in the background, we're doing a very similar thing to the rich results test, but we're generating a report that we've made ourselves that sort of grades your page in a score out of 100, and then sends you an email report where you can see all the details and our recommendations for what you should do to improve that. And we can sort of add in a little bit more information that Google's official documentation can add in. So we can give suggestions and tips specifically for your recipe and things that we'd do if we were in your position. So this is everything going over how to test your recipe schema. I hope that all makes sense, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much.